came on a good time for me, you know what I mean? When I was like 16 or whatever, you know, that's like prime time, and it could have gone many different ways. But the fighting kept me so focused. I never dedicated myself to anything so much in my life, like, and I think, especially since coming up here, I've got that belief in myself now. Like, obviously seeing you fight in the UFC, seeing Brett fight in UFC, Bellator.
Get those what we trap for. Some man they wanna chat shit till I knock them ain't like I'm Jack Shaw. Rolls hat, rolls back, my flow sharp like a hacksaw. Getting off.
Right, we're back. Another episode of everyone's favourite podcast, the Tanked Up Podcast. Very special guest today. This man is the Cage Warriors Wales middleweight champion. He's a former IMAF European gold medalist. He's the 2022 IMAF Four Nations gold medalist with an amateur record of 11-2, as well as being the number one ranked middleweight amateur fighter in the UK, as well as being the destroyer of internet trolls. We'd like to give a big welcome to the one and only Rowan the Crocker.
Crocker. That's it. You got it.
Thanks for coming, mate.
Nice on the pros.
First of all the accolades are great, but what's the internet trolls bit about?
Oh, right. Right.
You can touch on it briefly.
Right. So there's a page on Instagram doing awards for end of the 2022 year, and they put it up as who should be prospect of the year.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, you'd expect people that, you know, competing in MMA to be getting these type of awards. Just like if it was, you know, a Premier League or football prospect of the year, you won't go giving it to somebody who's underage for you. So that's essentially my argument. And there's a couple of comments on this post saying that, you know, like kids who are like 7 or 8, you know, grey belts winning Cardiff Open are prospect of the year, and I'm just sorry to say that they ain't, like, you know what I mean? It's not,
you ain't having it, like.
It's not
exactly that.
So that's what the internet troll thing was about.
Yeah, shout out to our boy Johan Thomas who won it in the end. Justice prevailed in the end. With the 16-year-old who beat up 5 men actually got the award. Exactly. So justice prevailed. Let's quickly touch on Straw. I think I'm right in saying you didn't train martial arts from a young age, did you? So just briefly touch on how you initially got into the sport. Did you do anything as a kid athletics-wise before getting into MMA or jiu-jitsu, whatever you started first? And what initially prompted you towards getting involved?
So what prompted me to get involved? My brother, first of all, my old man is a former pro boxer, so I got a bit of like
Notorious Neil
combat in the family.
Notorious Neil Crocker.
But to be fair, I went boxing. I was about 9. I'd say maybe 6 weeks. You know, the classic thing, like you go with like a group of your mates, about 6, 7 of us. You know, 1 dropped off, 2 dropped off, 3, 4. I was like the last one left, and then I just left then because obviously I didn't like getting punched in the head, to be honest. I was a little fat kid, you know. I was getting beat up by these little, like, I was a big kid and these kids were smaller than me and they were fitter than me, and I didn't like it. So I stopped going. I was playing rugby, so I stuck with rugby until I was 16, and then I found my way to starting jiu-jitsu then. So my brother does kickboxing, but did do it anyway, and he was always into the UFC. Like, he was watching it when it come to London. Was it like UFC 90 in the single in the 2 digits? Like,
yeah. It was quite, well, it might have even been earlier than that. I'm trying to think where it was. It was a Bisping. I think it was a Bisping and Rashad Evans or something like that, wasn't it?
And he's got like pictures on his profile now still with like meet and greet with like, you know, tap out t-shirts and stuff like that. So he was sort of the main one showing me. And funny enough, I had the UFC game in 2009. Forrest Griffin on the
Undisputed.
cover. That's it. So I had that from game on like a swap. You know what I mean? Take your old games back, trade in. I started playing and I couldn't win. I was getting subbed all the time. So I think Kimbo Slice was on it at the time, and I play as him every time, taken down, subbed, turn the game off, start again. I was doing my career mode, like, so I didn't want to lose. So that's what I knew about MMA. And then I watched that, you know, Warrior with Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
So I watched that in like 2013. I was in year 9. So I went on to Google, and after that, because obviously I like the teacher that does all the subs, didn't he? So jumped on Google, Swansea MMA. Result come up, I had a look for the gym. Price at the time was like £35 for 10 sessions, so I was like 14 or 13, so I was like, I'm not getting £35 from anywhere. So kept it on under the carpet for a bit, and then when I was 16, I had a little job, so I could afford to go training, so started going to jiu-jitsu in Swansea.
It's funny because I forget like that I'm quite a little bit older than like you and some of the boys from the gym. Like you were just saying, your first MMA film was Warrior, like, whereas I was fucking, you was probably the same. I was Never Back Down.
I've seen that.
Never Back Down was the first, like, because obviously I've been in it most of my life, so that was the first real MMA film, and as like an MMA fan or someone who's saying you watch an Never Back Down and you're like, fuck me, this is shit. this is awful. But like Warrior is actually a good film, and it does give an half decent, minus the fighting with a broken shoulder and all that. It does give an half decent like representation of it, doesn't it?
Does it do your head in, like when you see it on films when it's absolutely terrible?
Oh, garbage, isn't it? But Never Back Down's terrible. But I want to just quickly ask about your old man. Like I didn't realise he was a pro boxer. So how many fights did he have as a pro? I'm guessing he had amateur fights and stuff as well.
I think what he told me, I think he fought schoolboy for a while, armies. I don't think he entered like the national tournaments or anything like that. I think he took some. I think he was schoolboy all the way through, and then I got a feeling like he turned pro. Then had 7 fights as a pro in a year. He only did 1 year pro.
Oh yeah.
And then he called it a day. I think this was a mad thing is by the time he was 21, he had like a house and a mortgage and a kid. So like boxing wasn't paying the bill.
Yeah. That shut down my next question. I was going to say, did he ever pursue it as a career? But obviously he had the 1 year and
he had the 1 year. I think he fought in a Byron McGuigan undercard over in Ireland, and I think he was one of those boxers. They were like 2 weeks notice. We need a fight. You jump on the plane, no problem.
Yeah.
Did he always kind of want to guide you down that direction then? Seems as he was into boxing.
No, not at all. I think he actually fell out of love with the sport in a way, because obviously like he was in it for so long. I think a lot of people that have the same thing get a bit of us towards it. But a
lot of boxers do, don't they? Especially a lot of boxers, because boxing is one of them. I think you can be like 6 or 7, you can sign up and start getting thumped in the head, and it's like by the time you see like these schoolboys like turn 18, 19, they've had 100 odd fights, and they, like you said, start going out on a piss and get misses, and they don't really want to pursue it. And it kind of falls back to what you were saying about the internet trolls thing. Exactly. The amount of school kids, and again, not that we wish on school kids to not stick out, but the amount of school kids that go so hard so early and get pushed so hard and then burn out, it's mental. You've seen it in boxing for years, now you're starting to see it in MMA and jiu-jitsu, and my old man was like the polar opposite with me. If anything, he tried to push me down different routes. Like I wanted to train every night, but he was kind of like, no, it's Tuesday night tonight, go and play rugby, or the boys are out tonight, you want to go out with the boys. So
Is that why you think like AJ and Wilder and that they started quite late as well, didn't they?
There's something to it. I don't necessarily think like you'll always be the best in the world starting late. I don't think there's no recipe for success with it. But there's some like now the science is coming out. There's definitely like cutting weight from like 8 years of age to 16 years of age, and having head trauma from like 8 to 16 is definitely going to impact you when you get to my age. Maybe not when you're like 21, 22, 23, when you start getting to 26, 27, 28. I think it does add up, and it does make you fall out, like you said, it makes you fall out of fucking love with the sport.
Not to go all sports science on you, but the big thing says in the research is like if you specialise too early, sometimes it don't work out. If you do like gymnastics, early specialisation sport, it don't work out. But if you play like loads of different sports, it gives you like a really good base then, like hand-eye coordination, to then when you do specialise later on down the line, you're much better off. Like, it's like Sean O'Malley played like baseball, football, soccer, played basketball, all these different sports then, and then when he just specialised the fighting, it was like all these different attributes and skills.
Well, look at John Jones. John Jones is probably the best example.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Did football and
football. No doubt the size of him, played basketball.
Exactly.
Natural athlete, obviously wrestled a little bit, and like you said, when you specialise, then it all kind of comes together. So you were 16 when you started the grappling. How serious was you early on? Was you like kind of straight away fell in love with it? Was it like, no, it's just a bit of an hobby, a couple of times a week?
To be fair, I never considered myself like as a fighter. I never had no street fight. I was just like a big talker, big and tall, but couldn't back it up with no action. Like, so I was a mouthy kid, but if anybody tried it with me, I'd be fucked. Like, so I think I had maybe one fight in school because this boy was picking on another boy. I've gone for the schoolboy headlock. He's come out the back door. I've ended up on the deck. He's just pinning my hands to the deck, not punching me, but just holding me. And I was just looking at him like, I can't fucking move. Like, so I was the one fight I had in school. I think I had one fight, as you call it, down the park when I was about 14. I couldn't fight. Like, you know what I mean? It was on video. I still got a video somewhere. But you know, it's on like iCloud. You go on someone's text and like it's got to load up. But I've seen the video. It's funny that I'm trying to grab him, trying to slap him at the same time. Like, you have
to put it in a highlight reel.
He's pinning me
somewhere.
up against the fence at one point. Right, it's quite funny up against the fence. And, like, I'm just looking at him. He's not trying to take me down. I'm just looking at him, and the boy's like, "But it did, man." And I just like, like slap like. So yeah, never a fighter in school. Never like picked myself to be a fighter. Went to the grappling just to try something new and be able to look after myself because, like I said, I was big and tall, but I couldn't do anything about it. Like, so even like playing rugby, you know, if it got physical, you know, fighting in rugby or shit, like a boy could be right in front of me and I'd punch, I'd miss him, like, you know, just terrible. So no, I never picked myself up to be a fighter. Didn't start to get into competing. Didn't even plan to compete. I thought I weren't good enough to even compete. I just like, I'll just do jiu-jitsu. Won't do MMA because I'm not hard enough. I'll just do jiu-jitsu for a bit of fun. And then, you know, just sort of natural progression. And I was like, oh, well, I can have a go at a comp. Like, why not? Done the first comp. I think it was in the Sport Wales Centre in Cardiff. I was like a juvenile. And then I just did adult ones in it straight after. I was like, the thing was, I was about 16, but I was about 90 odd kilos, just, you know, a bit fluffy. No strength, no muscle, no nothing really. Didn't lift weights when I was younger.
Just a big kid, like.
Just a big kid. So I was in with these men, and they were just chucking me about, especially in the gi. Like, you know, I was getting ragged everywhere, chucked about, couldn't shoot a double leg. Oh, it was bad times I started. Like,
you obviously you won. You went on to win the. Just to skip forward a bit to when you started fighting, I'm pretty sure you won the IMAF European. Was it the juniors or the juvenile, whatever they call it?
Yeah, 16.
You won that pretty early on, didn't you? Like in terms of your amateur career, because wasn't that like your first fight?
Debut.
So your debut was in the IMAF. So how many fights did you have to win that?
It was 3. So it was the Monday, Thursday, and Friday. It was the first year they did the junior divisions, which I believe is 18 to 21.
Yeah.
So they call it under 21 division. So yeah, coach at the time, just complete chance. Like, I was doing a bit of grappling. I was winning blue belt divisions as a white belt and stuff, and just by complete chance they said, "Oh, well, we're going. Do you want to do the under 21 sort of division?" And I said, I got my A-level exams, which were the day before. So the flight to Romania was like the 16th, and my last exam was the 15th. So I checked my schedule. I was like, yeah, son. So I just said, yeah, I'll do it. Just completely naive. Like, I didn't have a clue about like real fighting. I didn't do any MMA sparring. I just did like grappling with gloves on. Biggest fluke of my life, I'd say. I'm not.
It must be in there somewhere, isn't it? To be
mad,
able to go and do that.
I expected to go out there, honest to God, lose one, like go out there, have the fight, lose, come home, never fight MMA again, go back to doing grappling. You know what I mean? That's what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
But after the first day, I was like, I'm here now. I may as well just win the whole thing. Yeah. So I went from polar opposite. On the first day, I was like absolutely shit in my pants, couldn't look at my opponent, scared to death. He jumps in there. You can see it on YouTube. It's funny, right? He's like, I'm baby faced, like 18, fresh. This kid from Romania signed up on the day. He's walked in like he's got like 5 o'clock shadow. Like, you know, he's on the edge of the cage. He's holding the edge of the cage, swinging his legs as if he's done this a million times. I'm just standing there like, fucking hell, fuck.
Tell him what to do.
And then they went for the first bell goes off, and obviously I didn't notice at the time, but ref goes like, judge, and he checks the timekeeper, and then we go. So he's like, right, you ready? He checks. 1 judge, 2 judge, and the 3rd judge weren't there. So I was like, yeah, I'm ready. And then he just goes, oh, hang on a sec, I've got to fucking get the 3rd judge in. Like, so I was scared to death for a long time with fighting, if I'm honest. Like,
yeah, you were obviously like, you could see that a little bit in the way, I can say it now because obviously you're a much better fighter, but you could see it in, like, you could see it was a typical grappler doing MMA, where once you got the ground, you was alright, but like even in your fights after, I remember watching you, even in Ebervale or in Cardiff, and like you said, we take a piss now and then, where you, like you say, you fucking shoot in. Oh, fuck. Cut that out, Jim.
He's fucking up the gaff, yeah.
Fuck it, it's not in all that.
We'll wipe it up after.
fuck it.
Yeah, cut it out.
Keep it in.
No, you was shooting him when you was shooting like bent back against Prole, and like you said, it was a typical grappler in an MMA fight where it was like didn't want to get punched, didn't want to stand, get it to the ground by
MMA really. Like I'd say until I came to train with Shake and all the boys, I wouldn't say I was even anywhere close to being an MMA fighter. I was literally just trying to do grappling with gloves on. I mean, I couldn't even throw a punch. Like, I couldn't jab. Didn't have no distance. Like, I couldn't do anything. Like
I always remember is I'll have to find a picture so you can like put it up behind us.
I got it.
It's it was his first time he kind of like, I think he'd spoken to my old man about possibly joining the gym, and he came up with Brett and a couple of boys to do a session. Like Brett and obviously and Scott at the time, they hadn't spoke about coming to our gym. We were still up in Blind Away. I think he'd made his mind up, look, I'm going up there. I want to make a go of MMA, so I need to be at an MMA gym. And we had like a sparring session out the back, and I think I was training for one of my kids. About 10 of us out in there. It was a proper crew there. And there's a picture of him on the end. Like everyone's like all smiles and like thumbs up at the end of the class, and he just stood there like white as a fucking ghost, just on death's door, just to say, just that. Didn't say it, but I had the look on his face like, what the fuck's going on here? Like,
what have I signed up to? Is it
battered? Like that session, a couple of those sessions at the back room, they made a man out of me. Like, and
they were make or break you sessions. And I think, especially like you said, come in like with the idea of, I want to join that gym. I think you can either go from there and think, well, fuck that, I'm not going back a bit because I'm having an arm in, or you can think what you did is like, well, for me to be any good, I've got to kind of be on that level, and the only way you get that level is by training with them boys.
That's right.
It's paying off, obviously, as well, isn't it?
Genuine, like, that's me. I owe nearly everything. Everything I do in a cage now, it's not from where I was before. You know what I mean? It's from like everything you see in my game, like my strike game, my grappling, my wrestling. It's all a product of my environment right now. Like, but those backroom sessions, honest to God, I leave there crying. I go drive home. I think, bite my lip in the inside of my cheeks, like just brave face it until Scott get out the car. Sit in the car crying, like, because you've got this idea of yourself, and I think this is really good for me at the time, because talk about like having like an inflated sense of ego. Went to the IMAFs, won the juniors, without even training MMA, like. So I was there thinking, oh yeah, I looking at the Tapology top 10, I was like, right, fuck, I'll take him out, and I'll take him out, and I'll take him out. Go up the back room up Bliner, get battered by boys who are 20k lighter than me, and I'm thinking, fuck me, I need to go and fight number 31, never mind number 10, like. Because I got battered, pit at the post, like, and that's what you need. If your ego's up here, you've got to get it hammered in a bit more.
I don't know the exact saying, but there is an old saying, like, the only way to kind of like keep your ego in check is to get beat up a little bit. I know like times are moving now, where it's not like you're just not gonna bang it out 3 times a week to spar, but you can still have sessions where you're not taking all. Like with Brett, for example, you have a fucking pure wrestling session 1v1 with Brett. Although you're not getting clattered in the air, you'll soon come out there humbled, you know, because you'll think, fucking hell.
Even me,
I think I'm half about, and then you got fucking 5'6" Brett just pinning you and ragdolling you for fun, like. And I've seen it, and not just me. I've seen boys from other gyms come up, and like, it's the best way to keep yourself humble is to like put yourself out there a little bit. And but yeah, like the fast forward a few years, me and he was speaking about it earlier. It was like when Stroker first come to the gym, like he couldn't wrestle. He couldn't throw a kick. He couldn't throw a fucking kick above waist height, which you could live with if he could box a bit, but he couldn't fucking box either. And then like, I think your journey was quite unique because it fell mad timing, didn't it? Because you started training with us, and then we had COVID, so he had like, you know, on and off a solid 18 months, 2 years of getting a hell of a lot better. But didn't have no chance to display it. It was just like we were seeing it in the gym. Like, fucking look how well Rowan's coming on. But then you wouldn't see it in the cage because there was no shows going on. I remember your first fight. What was your first fight back against? It was on the Cage Warriors Academy show.
December show for the belt, that was.
And I remember like you fucking blitzed him, didn't you? Like knocked him down, backed him on the feet, backed him in the wrestle, backed him on the floor, and it was just kind of like the poor fucker probably watched your last fight and was like, all right, that's what he's going to do. He's just going to panic shoot. And then you've had to come out and kind of like fucking deal with a complete all-round fight. Well, you haven't lost since being at the gym, I don't think. What has it been, like
6 fights?
6 fights?
Yeah, 5-2 when I joined. So 11-2 now. So
yeah.
I can remember I was doing a bit of filming there at the Cage Wars at the last one, I think it was. And I don't think I've ever seen someone so happy to win a fight, like so buzzing. Like, what's that feeling like for you?
To be fair, it's a mad one for me, right? Because I wouldn't say... When I first started, I was petrified. I hated fighting, I hated the idea of it. But I think that was just based in the fact that I couldn't actually fight every area, like, so I didn't have the confidence because I knew full well, you know, if he stays on the feet, I'm fucked. You know, if I can't get him to the floor, if I can't shoot on him and actually complete this double leg, you know, I'm fucked. Like, so I knew I needed to get him done. But since then, obviously, I've got confidence now because I can strike, I can definitely wrestle, I can definitely grapple. I can do it all now, so like I got that freedom to go in, enjoy myself, I keep reaffirming, like, I get to compete, I get to do this, I don't have to do anything. But in the past, it felt like I had to do.
It's a good mindset to have.
No, it's just fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get in the changing room, put my music on. Like, nobody really likes it, but I do. So, I get to
what are you into?
Just some nasty rap music. Like.
Is it?
Yeah.
Some names or?
All like UK shit.
All that UK shit.
Grime and stuff.
All that, like, I want to stab you stuff. Like, all that kind of shit. That's the mindset you're in. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to go and kill no one, like, but I'm going to go and have a fist fight in half an hour, so I want to get into that mind frame.
Even your grappling has changed, hasn't it? Like, I remember, like, if you watch your first few fights for when you was at your last gym, all your wins and your subs will kind of come, like, from being on your back, you throw up a triangle. You watch your fights now, like the Four Nations thing was a perfect example. You won that just through fucking, it was in a small cage, and you just dogged them with the rest in the top position. I was going to say, obviously on paper, probably your biggest achievement probably is the IMAF European gold. But I think in terms of competition and just time and everything, your biggest achievement probably is the last one, is the Four Nations, because I think you fought, like, you had 3 fights in there, and out of those, I think 2 of them boys were, like, ranked top 1 and 2 in the country. The one boy was like a knockout artist, the other guy was a beast, and obviously, like, you've not only had to fight them back to back, but you've had to fight them, like, fucking on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days in a row. What was that like? Just because, obviously, I've done it, and you've done it with IMAF, but try and explain it to them a little bit, what it's like to have to G yourself up. Yeah. Like, because it's one thing when you fight, obviously, when you have this fucking massive eye, you're on top of the world, and I always remember it with the IMAF when I done it, it fucking sucks the life out of you because you're on top of the world, you're fucking buzzing, and you get back to the hotel room, you sit there for the time, you're like, fuck me, I gotta do this again tomorrow.
Yeah. Mad experience, I think, probably the turning point in my head where it proved to me, I know, like, I'm actually pretty good, like, obviously I won the fight, I won a fight for the belt in December, and then defended it in the March. But then in my head, I knew I could beat those guys. I knew I was better than them. I knew I could do it. But the Four Nations was the one where I went, right, fuck me, I got a bit of a job on my hands here. Like, I got the number 1 ranked Ami, middleweight on Tapology. He's in the bracket. I was thinking, fucking hell, I'm gonna have to fight him. He's gonna be a tough fucker. Saw some other names in there, but. So after the March fight, I was looking at the Tapology rankings, and I was like, right, maybe you could get number 6 down to defend my belt against, and then we'll build number 5, number 4. And then maybe the end of the year, I'll take out number 1. And I went out the window in fucking seconds because they drew the bracket, and I was matched against number 1.
Straight away in the first fight, yeah.
So I was you can ask Scott, I was running around my living room, I was like, fucking hell, I got Joe Ambler. Pretending I'm excited, but I'm not, like, I was scared to death. And then we got there, and obviously they changed the draw up as we on in the podcast before, so they'd done the draw dodgy. So I had the welterweight number 1 on the first day.
He came up a weight, did he?
Yeah, I think because they do welterweight in Scotland the day before. So
right, so he's a middleweight, yeah.
So he's number 1 ranked welter, beat him, beat Ambler, and then beat Reesen in the finals. But in terms of, like, getting up the next day, that's what I was saying. It was like, I knew I had to be smart. Like, we had the game plan, wrestle very heavy, so don't take much damage. I'm glad I did that because, like, in the second day, took 1 knee to the side of the, like, IT band, dead leg straight away. Yeah. I think if I was on IMAF and I would have had to have done like 4 more fights, I would have been fucked. Like, cause it's grueling on the body. Like, you've got to be careful, you've got to be smart with the game plan. But to be fair, like, with that small cage, it's always going to end up grabbing.
Yeah. Do you think, when, like, they do that structure where you're fighting a few times over a few days, do you think they don't get the same level of fight? Do you like hold back a little bit?
I don't think you get necessarily not get the same level, but you get different people will have to fight a different way.
Yeah.
Because you can't go in there and slug it out for 3 rounds and then get up and fight the next day, batting and bruise and cut. And when I done the IMAF, the guy I fought in the final, he'd had fucking like 2 wars the 2 days before, and I had 3 first round finishes. So he come in there a little bit bruised, a little bit battered. Whereas, like, I was in there, all things considered, a lot fresher than what he is. So But I think it is the ultimate test and it is the ultimate way to do it. You look at the amateur boxing, they've been doing it for years. The Olympics, right, you may not fight every day, but you'll fight like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it does narrow it down. What I like about it is you don't know who you're fighting till that day. Like, you get your draw, so you know you're fighting first, right? But then you don't know you're fighting tomorrow until that day's over with. So there is no real time to, like, game plan, no real time to, like, go and bring sparring partners in, no real time to, like, right, fully. You can game plan the night before, but
Yeah.
How much detail can you do? You're not trained. You might fight an elite striker one day and an elite grappler the next day, and then you might fight an all-rounder the third day.
You're as good as you are. Like,
it's kind of like turn up with your skills, and we'll see who ultimately got the best skill set to win the lot. And it also, like, it adds in the fun factors of, like you said, he might be number 2 and he might have fought number 1. But then you've got the guys who's like 3, 4, 5, and 6 and thinking, oh, here's our chance now to get, because someone's got to go out to 1 and 2. Whereas if you was you and like you was you, ultimately you would expect bang, meet in the final. So I think it's a good setup. I think it's an arse setup, but I think it's something every fighter should try and. Do you have to make weight every day as well? Yeah. So some of them get lucky, like the juniors and all that now. They get to weigh in on one day, and I was just to weigh in every fucking single day. So that was a bastard as well. Like you'd fill up after the fucking weigh-in fight, then you'd be like, right, I'm putting a weight on now because I got fucking weigh in again in the morning.
That's what I was doing at 4 Nations. I was like, right, I've weighed in this morning. What am I going to eat tonight? I was like, fuck, I don't know. Just literally got like the smallest reasonable thing I could find, and just went, right, I'm going to have to go to bed and just
sleep it off.
Tomorrow,
yeah.
Like,
we was in an hotel in Birmingham. It was only me and my old man. Like, obviously it was Team UK at the time. It wasn't Team Wales, but they let my old man. So I kind of said, look, I'm not fucking going to do it unless he's there. And I think they kind of realised, like, well, he's our best chance at a gold medal. So I was like, either he's fucking coaching or I'm not doing it. So it was me and my old man in some holiday in fucking in Birmingham, and every night like we'd go and order food, and like the waitress would come over on the first, like she was 4 times that weighing, because I had to weigh in for the check-in day as well. And he was like, I know it's not on the menu, but can you just do us a grilled chicken breast and a jacket potato? And she was like, well, yeah, if that's what you want. She was like, well, you want it plain? And we was like, we want it fucking plain. My old man's banging burgers and I'm just like, boom, smash that, upstairs, bed, get up, on weight. Luckily, obviously, like as the day's going, you naturally find you end up getting lighter and lighter, so you had a little bit more leeway. But then some boys are fucking nuts, aren't they? Some boys are cutting like 3-4 kilos every night.
Fucking hell,
that's and then go make weight the next morning.
When I was at the Rome tournament in 2019, you could see all of them, all like the Eastern European type of lads. Classic like shell suit, sweatsuit, trackie on, beanie, just doing laps of this chalet complex in Rome, like just doing laps. How much you got to go? Oh, a kilo. Oh, sounds good. Chewing gum all day.
It's like you'd see it up in, because obviously we done it in Birmingham. Like now they have like a site, don't they? Whereas we was like, we was in an hotel, you had to go to the venue to weigh in. So basically, if you go on the actual scales and you was overweight, you was out. But they had a test scales that you could use to check you was on weight, because otherwise, you know, it's like you'd have all fucking hold ups. And like I was obviously turning up, like I think I fought 150. I was turning up like fucking 150, 151. But there's boys in there like, and every fucker's in there, like you said, there's sauna suit on, just skipping into sports hall trying to cut the weight, and you're like, boys, you were fighting in 2 hours, like, and you fucking cut in like fucking lunatics.
I mean, me and fucking Serbia now it is.
Yeah, too close after Christmas.
So you at 185 now, then amateur, obviously weigh in the same day. Like when you got aspirations to go pro, do you think you'll stay then 185, or is it?
Originally, I thought I'd be a 170 pro. That's like the natural progression. When you fight army same day, you usually go down a weight class, don't you? But the way I'm growing as I get older. I think I'm a bit of like a late developer, so I seem to be putting on like some good lean tissue as the years go on, and it's not like I'm looking in the mirror now thinking, you should be around 84k, and you're looking pretty lean. And get on the scales, and I'm like, fucking hell, I'm nowhere near fucking 84, but I'm still lean, like, so.
And it's 15 pound as well, isn't it? Like, it's not like 55 to 45.
Christian Duncan, Christian Duncan done the same thing. Then he always fought at 84 or 185 pound on as an amateur. And I remember when he went pro, thinking, oh, he'll naturally drop the 170, and I remember him saying, no, I'm going to stay at 185, and I'm going to put some size on. And like you see him now in person, you're like, you fucking will never ever make 170 in your life. He's big as he, he's massive. Big. Like you said, I've obviously got a little bit older, started training full time, put a bit of muscle on. There's no way he's getting down to fucking. Like, he's massive, isn't he? And you look at him now and like obviously you think, how did he used to make 185 same day? But obviously he's a different person now to what he was as an amateur. But to touch on the pro thing, what are you thinking next? Obviously you want to do the Worlds. Have you got ambitions of going pro? Are you happy amateur for now? Or?
No, I'd be. I'm still in uni doing my masters, so that'll see me up until about September time. So this year now, I think I'll be probably last year army if everything goes well. I think Guess Worlds now in Serbia in Feb. I'd like to fight K1 or Muay Thai across the year, just because I've never done a striking sport on its own. I think that's important. There'll be another IMAF Euros in mid-year. So I think if I could get like 5 fights at both of those tournaments, it'd be 10 fights.
Yeah.
I'd take my record to about around 25 fights then. Obviously 20 wins, hopefully. And I think that'd be a good amateur career then. Obviously, with all things considered, like my weight, then I think it'd be a good run then 2024.
Yeah, I think that's a good. Like you said, if say you go on and win the world and whatever, there's not a lot left for you to do. Then it's kind of like you. And to be fair, if you get a world's medal, you could probably go straight pro with a good organisation anyway, because the pros seem to be like, look at Makayev. I think he was 4 or 5 and 0, bang, straight in the UFC. Look, you look at Duncan now, he's 6 and 0 or 7 and 0, bang, he's in the UFC. So they are. Who's the young kid? Rosa.
Yeah.
3 and 0, 4 and 0, bang, IMAF medals straight in the UFC. So yeah, I think you're doing it right. What you say you're doing your master? That's all. Go on, touch on that a bit. You're doing sports science, is it, or S&C?
Yeah, S&C. Just got my undergrad now in last July. So I've got the masters now, which will take me up till September in S&C, and then I'll be done with uni.
Go on, plug it. Plug Croc Performance.
Croc Performance, right. So I'm an S&C coach as well, so that's what I've done in uni for the past couple of years. Working with fighters, working with other sports as well. If you want more information, crocperformance.com. The website's up.
Do you do your own S&C, or have you got like an S&C coach and then you just coach other clients?
Yeah, so that's outsourced to my coach of his name's Andrew Hardwick, brother of Delph Performance. So he sponsored me in 2020, I think, 2020 or 2021 December. It was when I was in uni. I was like the first year, just finished my first year, and he put up a post saying he's looking to take on a sponsored athlete, basically, for a long-term sponsor, not just like for a year or whatever, just for like long periods.
Like a project.
Yeah, so I've been with him for a while now. He's got his gold in fairness. He's from up in Chorley in Wigan, but it's good for me, like, because he's S&C coach, I'm S&C coach as well. It's easy the process. Like, he hasn't got to like explain stuff too much. I just sort of we have good conversation. I learn off him. I like to think he learns off me as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I suppose you can what's it called, switch and swap ideas a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. Like, coaches need coaches at the end of the day. Like, it's kind of like, imagine now I've got like the knowledge to do my own S&C, to do my own nutrition, to structure my own training week, but it's too much pressure on me. And like, if you can outsource your nutrition, your S&C, even like your skills coach, you know what I mean? Like, it's how important is it for everybody to have a head coach and not just run their own camps, because then it all falls apart. Accountability
as well, I suppose, then, isn't it?
Exactly.
He's on your back.
How do you find that, like, being a fighter yourself? I know obviously a lot of the boys you work with are friends and teammates anyway, so it's not so bad because you've got a relationship. But how do you find it being a fighter yourself, not kind of like knowing how hard work fighters can be, because you fucking been there, to then obviously giving a bit of nutrition or a bit of S&C advice to other fighters? Because I suppose, like, you know, when like you fucking bullshit your coach a little bit, like, I did do that, like that extra set, or I didn't have a cheat meal on the weekend, and you can fucking tell us because you've been there and done it all yourself. How do you find that? Can you spot the bullshit from a mile off?
100%. Yeah, it's easy to tell. Like, I won't name names. That's not fair. But like, I got
fuck it, name.
He's calming down. He's calming down on the internet trolling here today.
Like, I can't do it. Like, but common one is like they're logging their weight every day. So it's like Monday logged, Tuesday logged, get to Friday, all logged. Send a message through. Right, mate, we're 4 weeks out now. Weekends when it's hardest. Trust me. Stay on it. Like, you need to stay on it. We're 4 weeks out. Like, there's not a room for fucking about. Like, we got to be nailed on.
Yeah.
Saturday weigh-in goes in. I'm thinking, fucking hell, right, sound. He's woke up Saturday morning, he's weighed. And then I get to Monday, Sunday, blank.
It's fucking fear of the scale, guys.
Drop a message in. I was like, right, mate, there's a blank cell on the sheet. What's going on? He's like, oh, fuck me, mate. I was doing so well. I went to a Christmas market, fucking had one thing, turned into having 10 things. I think I've had about 3,000 extra calories than what I'm supposed to have. What should I do? I was like, fuck me, mate. I don't know. Like, this
isn't part of the plan. Like,
that's what I mean. I messaged you Friday. Like, come on. Like, but in fairness to him, in that case, he still made weight. He still won his fight.
It is hard, isn't it? Like, well, you'll know it. You'll probably have more sympathy with it than most, being a fighter yourself. It is fucking hard. Like, when everyone around you can sort of eat and drink and do all they want. Like, especially like around Christmas time as well. It is tough. But like you said earlier, I haven't got to do it. I get to do it. So you have got to decide eventually whether, if you don't want to do it, if you don't want to fucking commit and do the diet, and I just don't think you do it. You know what I mean? It's there's plenty of other things out there you could be doing.
Once you signed up, you signed up. Like, you know, once you said I'm going to do it, you should.
Yeah.
Do it, you should follow.
You honestly, you won't regret the weekends off the grub when you're in that fucking sauna.
I can emphasize as well, like, you know, because obviously, like, especially when I was younger, like, I had some of the worst until I started studying in the field. I had some of the worst eating habits, some of the worst nutritional sort of protocols I was following, even like just from hearing bullshit on the internet and thinking it's gospel. You know, I was doing such terrible practices to make welterweight when I was younger. When it's probably why I do my coaching is because I did all these really stupid things when I was younger, and there was kids coming after me, you know, like young Bethan in the gym. Easy for him to just grasp onto some information he's picked up offline, and it's wrong. So I like to think I'm like, you know, not to get all corny, like, but if I can guide him in the right way, you know what I mean, lift weights the right way. Don't go maxing out when you're a young kid. Like, don't go eating or not eating for 3 days before making weight as a 17-year-old school kid or whatever. If I can guide these boys in the right way, then they won't have to make the same mistakes as me. Like, so it's good in that.
It's like you said, it's not until you work with someone who knows what they're actually talking about that you appreciate the amount of mad shit you've done. Like, I've done it, you know what I mean? Like, fucking hell, I done it for years. Get up every morning, fasted, go and run 6 miles, and it's like, you know, why are you running fasted? Oh yeah, well, I gotta lose weight, and I, like, you know, it's like you read, if you get and train fasted, it burns more fat, and it's like, it does in a sense. It just sucks the fucking life out of you then for the rest of the day. Like, ultimately, you know, without getting scientific, I literally just fucking eat what I'm told by the nutritionist, but it's as long as you're burning off more than what you're putting in,
it's the day, innit? It's the full day.
You will lose weight on a whole. Like,
have you noticed a difference since you've been training with that Paul? Like,
yeah. So like
a lot of difference.
Yeah, Paul does my nutrition. No, but to be fair, I was working with Jordan before that as well. And the only reason I stopped working with Jordan is just because Jordan obviously lives in Australia. Paul lives in Liverpool, so I can check in with Paul every day and be on the same time zone, and I can pop up and see Paul once a month to do tests. And whereas with Jordan, it's kind of like, and for no fault of his own, it's just I've got to kind of source it, feed the information back, and then the time zones. But Jordan, shit out, like, he wouldn't be working with people like Leon Edwards really and Adesanya and Volkanovski if he wasn't. He's probably the number one in the, what's it called? In the entire fucking fight, not just MMA, but he's working with boxers. He's he's the elite of the elite, you know what I mean? But Paul's definitely up there as well. But him and Paul pretty much emphasize on the same practices. They have little different things they do differently. They use different fuel urinate. But after working with them too, and like seeing how much, like, because I was one of them, I would go out and be like, right, gotta get the bantamweight, try and aim for 1,500 calories. And it's like, when I went to Liverpool and done my BMR test, it was like my basal metabolic rate is 1,800 calories, so I can eat 1,800 calories just sat in bed all day, and I shouldn't put on no weight. Whereas, like, I was eating fucking 1,400, running in the morning, then going Thai boxing, then doing S&C in the afternoon, then training again, and it just destroys your body. Like, and that's why I think I kind of probably fell out of love with it a little bit. Fell out of love with training and fight. Not so much fighting, but because what had to come for me to get to a fight, it was 12 weeks of running every day, starving constantly, and it's like, well, no, you can still eat this and drink this and still bring your weight. It's too much for me to go into detail, obviously, because we'll end up fucking having an hour on me badly explaining fight nutrition. But it's kind of like, you'll be surprised how much you can eat and what you can eat while still losing the same amount of weight as what you're eating on.
Like, it's not, I like to say, it's people in like the industry, they want to make you think that it's like a secret, there's like a special way or a special secret or like a silver bullet. You know, there's one best exercise to do for power, or there's one best diet. No, in reality, there is no best diet, there is no best exercise, there is no best anything.
It's just sales technique,
which suits you. It's just a sales technique, exactly. So, you know, that's why I say it's easy to fall into the trap of like, oh well, this guy says I got to run fasted. You know, McGregor did it back in the day. Or when I go something like the lion hunts on an empty stomach, it's like, well, we're not lions. No, you know, we're human beings. Like, so it's easy to get fallen into the trap. They are
different. Like, don't be wrong. There will be days when I'll get up and go for a run fasted simply because I don't want to. I don't feel like eating breakfast, or I've slept a little bit late and I gotta get up and go. It's not because like, I've got to eat fasted to lose weight. But yeah, like you'll tell you better than I can. I won't fucking badly explain it. Ambitions stroke for, let's say, like for the rest of your amateur career, which is obviously sounds like it's going to be not much longer, and then ambitions ultimately with pro. Is it top level UFC and all that, or are you happy to kind of do it alongside your S&C and all that? What is the ultimate goal, I suppose?
Fighting is the ultimate goal. Like, I think I do S&C, I did uni, but anybody could tell you, like, I did uni because I get a student loan to do fighting. UFC is...
God love the honesty. That's exactly the fucking same.
Being honest, like, you know, like, fighting is the only thing in my life I'm at. It's like, it's the thing that drives me forward. It's the thing that keeps me striving to do better things. Like, it came at a good time for me, you know what I mean? When I was like 16 or whatever, you know, that's like prime time, and it could have gone many different ways. But the fighting kept me so focused. I never dedicated myself to anything so much in my life. Like, and I think, especially since coming up here, I've got that belief in myself now. Like, obviously seeing you fight in the UFC, seeing Brett fight in UFC, Bellator, seeing all these boys around me fight on Cage Warriors, like, it's, you know, I'm training with them every day. I'm seeing, like, the level is not too far. No, I'm not saying I'm fucking UFC level. What I'm saying is that
you're saying you can be, though.
It's the right formula.
You can see the path as well, isn't it?
The path is there for me. Like, I'm doing the right things. I'm winning amateur titles, winning national amateur titles. Now I want to win international amateur titles. Then we go pro, build it up again, regional.
Yeah.
You know, then better European, like Cage Warriors, and then get signed to a major organisation. And I think if you can't see the clear path, then you're daft. Like, it's there for you to take.
Yeah.
So commit yourself.
It's like everyone kind of like lays their own path in a way, but there's nothing wrong with seeing like someone else's path and taking bits from it. Like, I did it. I watched Brett and Marshman do it. There's like you said, there's people in the gym now that are watching me do it. There's kids who are fucking 60 now that will watch you do it,
exactly.
and so on and so on. So just because you obviously got to steer your own fucking ship at some point, but there's nothing wrong with looking at how other people have done it and thinking, yeah, well, I could, like you said, you've done everything as an amateur. Now you've seen boys before you go pro, start on Cage Warriors, build their way up, and then bang onto a major organisation. And obviously it always helps, doesn't it, when you've got people around you that are either doing the same thing or striving for the same thing.
Don't take much either, do you know what I mean? Like, a couple of fights in Cage Warriors, fight for that belt, get signed. Like, it really doesn't take as much as, like I used to think, God, fuck me, UFC, like, that's so far away. Like, how the hell am I ever going to be that good? You know, I'd look at them. It's only because I was young though, but like, I'd look at them, you know, like when they had like the keys to victory or whatever, when they walk out and it's like, oh, BJJ black belt, you know, kickboxing black belt or whatever. And I was sitting there with a fucking blue belt thinking, fuck me, how the fuck am I ever going to do that? And now a couple of years down the line, like, it's like, well, jiu-jitsu brown belt, done a good few things, and it's like, well, I'm doing everything that everybody else does when they get to a good level. So
you put them on a pedestal, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're there, like, and we always say it, me and my old man Carlos, you know, when you're there with them in the same changing room and you're watching them, even just watching how they warm up, how they operate, you're like, they're not different. They're not doing nothing different to what we're doing. It's like, it's the same with these big gyms. You think, oh, fucking, how am I ever going to beat anyone from American Top Team? Or how am I ever going to beat anyone from AKA? Like, my first fight in UFC, bang, fighting someone from AKA, one of Khabib's training partners, beat him. Second fight, bang, fighting someone from Dustin Poirier's gym. And it's like, do you know what I mean? That's how it goes. Third fight, bang, you're fighting someone from Henry Cejudo's gym. Exactly. Fourth fight, you're fighting someone who's coming off the Ultimate Fight, who's just spent 6 weeks training with a coach in Vegas. It don't, do you know what I mean? You put them on this pedestal, but they're not necessarily, like, I say that to people, trust me when I say they're not what you think they are.
Just working hard.
They're not doing. I've been to big gyms in America and trained. They don't do anything different to what we do. And ultimately, like you said with the S&C and the nutrition, there's certain different ways to do things, but ultimately it all comes down to the same thing. It's about having a good coach, an experienced coach who knows what they're doing. Brendan Loughlin was on James English podcast. And he said something really good. He said to him, what would your advice be to up-and-coming fighters or kids looking at you thinking, I want to go on and do that? And he's like, just get yourself a fucking good coach who's not a bullshit artist. Someone who knows what they're talking about, who's got experience, who's been around top-level fighters, not someone who will tell you should be doing this, this, and this, but doesn't know whether you should be doing this, this, and this. And he's bang on. You know what I mean? He is bang on, and obviously that shows because he's just gone and won fucking the PFL tournament.
I think that's opened the door for a lot of people, though, isn't it? Seeing him win that PFL tournament, I think probably a lot of people in the UK are thinking there's opportunities outside of UFC and whatever, and there's
crazy money, especially for like UK boys. They got like European series now. Like, I think when I first started training, the only route for me was like, right, get Cage Warriors belt, go to the UFC. But now it looks like you can, and it was at a time where the UFC wouldn't sign people from Bellator either. I don't know why. When they had that Chandler and the Askren crossover, then it's like, oh, we'll just open it up to sign people from everywhere. But at the time, it was like if you fight in Bellator, they won't sign you. So I was just thinking, right, Cage Warriors, UFC. But now it seems like, you know, PFL, Bellator.
There's plenty of options.
Now,
There's plenty of fucking options these days.
I think as well.
That Aries,
Aries,
there's loads of promotions.
Yeah, and not all these shows. Like, I mean, the UFC will tie you into a multi-fight deal, but like Bellator will do a 1-fight deal, or PFL will do a 1-fight deal, or Aries, they'll do a 2-fight deal. You know what I mean? There's plenty of different options. Cage Warriors will do a 1-fight deal. Do you know what I mean? Cage Warriors don't sign every single fighter up to a 5-fight contract. There's boys where like they'll come to Wales and they'll think, right, we'll use him, and then they'll go to London and think, right, we'll use this guy for a fight. Do you know what I mean? So
they need that flexibility as well, though, don't they?
They do. They can't sign. Look, if every promotion signed, obviously UFC aside, if every promotion relies on domestic, because UFC will sell out wherever they go in the world, doesn't matter who's on the card, but some of the other promotions, they also rely on domestic fighters to sell tickets. If they 5-fight deal every fight that they use, how are they going to keep them fighters busy then? Because it's not just 5 fights, it's 5 fights in a certain period of time. They can't give you that. They got to release you from the contract. So
they're going to miss out on maybe other talents that's coming out then as well.
There's plenty of options out. Like that's something where the UFC have, well, from what I was reading online, I struggled a little bit in the lockdown because they were doing the Contender Series and the Apex fights, and they were that desperate for fight. Like, because also you would have people would test positive for COVID, bang, they're out, or they couldn't get a visa last minute, bang, they're out. They were that desperate, obviously having to pull in people last minute. They won't pull them in for a 1-fight deal, they got to give them a 3 or 4-fight deal, and ultimately then they did get themselves to a stage where they couldn't sign no one because the roster was full, and they had to let a couple of weeks play out so they could start getting rid of people. Whereas if you're just signing people up to 1-fight deals, you don't have that issue, do you?
No, that's it. Have you had any news? Can you talk about anything?
No, I haven't had. Well,
Still quiet.
No, I haven't. And it's not me bullshit. I haven't had no news. What's the date today? Fucking Wednesday the 11th. So UFC, get your shit together. Come on, let's get the ball rolling. You. People want tickets. People are asking questions.
Buses need booking, like.
Because they've done like the pre-release or whatever now, haven't they? I think.
Fuck knows, I don't know. I can't.
They're hard to get anyway.
There's about 40 fucking pre-releases. We can't keep up with it all.
I went last year, watched them bang about a Russian, and I don't need to go anymore now.
Yeah,
that's you done, is it?
Yeah, done now. Yeah.
You've seen it now. Just wait till you're fighting it now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be the next. Like I was just saying, I fucking done it all. I went to watch it and I cornered it with Marshman. And I was like, oh, well, I'm here myself now.
Yeah. In person, is it like loads better?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I've never been. I need to go. Like I've only.
Gotta go,
it's hard to explain it, isn't it? You think. And as good as like Cage Warriors is, and as good as to be fair, Bellator's on a level with UFC. I've been to Bellator shows live, and they're on a level. But you know, you think Cage Warriors is good. You think like the PFL promotion, or play even local shows. You go and think, fuck me. Like even when I fought in the ice arena, I thought, fucking hell, this is like a UFC event. But then you fight at an actual UFC event, or you go and watch one, and you realize like no, there is a fucking jump.
I was gonna say the jump. So the only live shows I'd seen until the year just gone. So I'd seen, was it February was the Bellator with Brett and Scotty. So I flew out to there, watched Bellator for the first time, and I was like, fuck, no, it's just mental like sort of show. It was like the 3 arena. It was like one sort of side.
Yeah, they just have the one side, and
looking up at like the sprawling sort of up to the bleachers. Like I was thinking, fuck me, this is mental arena. I just like I'd love to fight here one day. So that was like my first experience of a big show since I'd watched you fight in the ice arena, which I also thought was a fucking mental big show.
Yeah, that was mental.
So that was like the biggest show I'd seen, and I went to see Bellator in the February, and then I went to watch the UFC in the Match, and the Match to UFC fucking blew my head.
Was it? Yeah.
Fast,
biggest I've seen is probably BKFC. Like that was in London. That was
UFC,
right.
but honestly,
I'll have to I'll try and get
especially especially like towards the top end of the car, where it's obviously fucking rammed. Like Paddy's walk out and Aspinall's walk out now. It's fucking bonkers, isn't it?
Even like I was I had my tickets off you, didn't I? Because someone give them back to you.
Yeah.
I was lucky I could get them, and it was me, my old man, Brett and Ash Johns. Literally the back row. Like there was no people behind me. I couldn't go any further back. But it was amazing. Like watching Dan Ucker fight Arnold Allen. And they going back, and I was on the floor like screaming, watching you hit that fucking Russian bloke about, like, you know what I mean? It's
even like, you know, that and our O2 Arena is class, because even like the back row, you could be at the very fucking back, and it's still, the atmosphere is wicked, and when you're in the cage, it's one of them arenas, it's massive, but when you're looking around, it's like, it doesn't feel that big, because you can see all the top. It's not like a fucking stadium, do you know what I mean? So when you're in it, you can feel the fucking crowd on top of it as well, which is bonkers.
Gotta get that one day.
Before we wrap it up, Stroke, anyone you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah. So I plug the business first and foremost. So it's crapperformance.com for the S&C nutrition needs. I'm the man, like, trust me.
He's the main man.
I am the man. Like. My sponsors then, so Nutriad, protein motor company, been sponsoring me for a little while. Just launched the first batch of product, so check them out. If anybody else wants to sponsor me for the Worlds, I am skint. I do need the money. It cost me about $2,000 to get out there. I'm not bullshitting anybody. It's $2,000. I'm not gonna go and spend it on
in flannels
down the shops. Like, I need $2,000 to get to Serbia. If anybody wants to help me out, they'd be really appreciated.
Are you going to do like a GoFundMe or just contact you direct on that?
Because they take a percentage, it makes me not want to do it. But I think if more people are inclined to do a GoFundMe, I'll set one up.
We'll bang a link in the description as well. Anyone else?
So I'll shout them out as well. Wes Fisher, he helped me out last year with some money for my neck scan. My neck was really bad from my fight. He's got his goal to me, so shout out to Wes.
Wes Fisher, Flame Protect. Wes is an avid. Wes watches Wes fucking hounds me, right? You know, if there's an episode, is like, say we put one out on the Wednesday and it's like the following Thursday. He's like, when's the next episode out? And I'm like, well, fucking hell, it'll be out now in a day or two. But so Wes is an avid, tanked up supporter as well, and an all round good guy. So shout out to Big Wes. Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, Rowan, for coming on.
Cheers, buddy.
As always, you can like, share, subscribe. You can also get us on the Patreon. Vlog next week, possibly.
Vlog next week,
We're
yeah,
hoping to
that's
get fight camp / waiting for a fight camp vlog out because we haven't got a fight just yet. Anything else, John?
I think we're all good, mate.
I think we're all good. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, send it to everyone, and follow Rowan. And make sure if you can support him, you do support him for the World. Please. And we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
God bless.
Get go, that's what we trap for. Some man they wanna chat shit till I knock 'em, ain't like I'm Jack Shaw. Rolls hot, roll stack, my flow sharp like a hacksaw.